welcome in. This is the Second Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman. We are not only mega preview potting the first signature event of the year, Pebble Beach Pro-Am, we are also going to put a bow on the Phoenix Open and get some new perspective on the finish. Greg DuCharme is here. Gregors.
I'm sorry I couldn't be here Sunday. I wish I could because it was a phenomenal event. And quite frankly, it wasn't worth seeing the Super Bowl for. If you're better off watching the rerun of the WM Phoenix Open than the Super Bowl. It was a fantastic event. I was enthralled.
It might get lost in the hubbub of the Super Bowl, but it was an outstanding finish that we will talk about. Mark Immelman was there. Now he's here. Hello, Mark.
What's up, boys? Yeah, it's good to be with you. I was sort of disappointed when we couldn't catch up because, as you could imagine, I was on a complete high after the end to that event. Watching some sensational golf. Kudos to WM because the event was so much better than the drunken mayhem it was a season ago. And the weather was fantastic. And I got back to the hotel room all charged up. And I'm sort of with you, Greg. I switched on the TV before my flight out, which was horribly delayed Sunday evening. And I was like, oh, okay. Here we are. So good to be with you, boys.
Yeah, actually a pretty unexciting Super Bowl and a very exciting Phoenix Open. Let's just get right into it because this was Hideki Matsuyama standing on the 72nd hole with a chance to make par and win the Phoenix Open for the third time. And he hits it into the church pews. He fails to really advance it, hits the lip on the way out, goes on to make bogey, and it starts this playoff, Mark, that you were very much there for even before it started. We saw you on the broadcast. They cut to Chris Gotterup on the range, and who else is there but Mr. Mark Immelman?
I'm not supposed to be on camera for my job, just for the record, but I was trying to stay out of the way there, and he just, he was so chilled out, Chris, that is, that he was just coming over, sort of shooting the breeze and chatting, and my on-course crew, Craig and Barbara, were along, and Barb had the monitor that we use on course for recorded shots. And so instead of Brady, Chris's caddy, and them looking at ShotLink updates on the phone, they could sort of watch the end of the broadcast. And so, yeah, it was cool. He was so chilled out that I had the sense within that if this goes extra time, it's a one-way business, which it turned into. And the whole time my producer's in my ear going, hey, ask him if there's a playoff, if he's cool taking a question. So I'm like, stand by. And I'm like, Chris, do you mind taking a question before the playoff if there is one? He goes, yeah, no stress, man. And then my producer goes, okay, so if Hideki three putts, then can you make sure you hold him so Amanda can get there in time? I'm like, yeah, we got this, because he was just so
oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
so cool, right? And then my producer goes, but if Hideki makes it, then you got to get the loser interview. Cool. So yeah, it was good. And then I've got to tell you this, because if you haven't been for the folks to Phoenix, to TPC Scottsdale, the first hole's kind of handshake par four. Most of the long hitters like Chris will go with some sort of driving iron or something off the tee, laid up short of the bunker because it's narrow, little baby dog leg from right to left, houses on the right, desert and stuff on the left. And so they let the potential playoff competitors just loosen up on the first tee, the tournament tee, because the driving range is farther away. And with the people, it's a mission to get them back. And so Chris is hitting balls there off the range, leaving big divots there in the championship tee because he's quite steep in approach with the irons. And so it's getting close. And so he figures he's got to hit a few drives, right? Similar to what he's going to hit on 18, because it was just one hole on 18 and they were going to change the cup every 2 holes, I think it was. And so you got this tight par 4 out of bounds right, hole turns on the bunker to the left. And he sets up there and just flat out drills 3 drives over the bunker, baby fade into the heart of the fairway, which is 25 yards wide at best. And I joke with him. I'm like, dude, why didn't you do that in the tournament? And he goes, yeah, I might do that next year. Basically, and then I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, this is a guarantee he's going to hit 18 fairway off the tee, which he didn't in regulation play. And lo and behold, after those 3 tee shots, he absolutely laces one down the fairway to like 90 yards away. And it was almost the perfect preparation for a chilled out guy to finish the thing off in style like he did.
Yeah, he did seem very chill. And when Hideki hit the lip out of the bunker on 18, all he did, Greg, was reach into the back pocket, grab the glove, and got right back to work, because that was a sign that it was much more likely that he was going to be in a playoff. And in that playoff, go ahead, Mark.
I got one more thing in terms of the preparation, right? Because we saw this with Rory and JJ Spawn at the Players last year when they came back Monday morning. And both of them were on the range, hitting the shot they were going to hit on 17 with the launch monitor and the whole thing, because it was gusty and windy and stuff. After he's hit these 3 perfect drives, he hit these 3 wedges within like 10 feet of each other that were from about 9,500 yards. Lo and behold, there was the exact number that he had coming in. So it's like he had played the hole number 18 before he actually got there in the playoff.
It was a bomb of a drive in the playoff. Hideki, who Greg had been playing with fire with his driver all Sunday long, he had hit 3 fairways. There were a lot of wayward misses, left, right. Finally comes back to bite him there in the playoff. He hits it into the penalty area, and that was really he actually hit a pretty nice shot out of there, but that was really it. It was the driver that was on the edge all Sunday long for Hideki Matsuyama that cost him in the playoff.
I don't even know if it was on the edge, Rick. You know, I was tracking it all day, but he was losing for the week, and most of this was Sunday, like upwards of 4.5 shots off the tee. And I wanted to know if anybody had ever won. So I went on your site and I was doing a little research, and there were only 2 guys that had lost more strokes off the tee and won.
Do you remember who they were?
Yes. Cameron Smith at the Players in 2022 lost more than 5. That was a Monday finish.
That's a typical day off the tee for him, just for the record.
Okay. It was actually his. Good. It was a good day for him.
That's a good week. Yeah, that was. I think he had one of the best like shot length putting weeks ever. Obviously,
yes,
because of that. Yep,
crazy
Players win.
The other was Brandt Snedeker.
Yeah,
which was the most bizarre. Another Monday finish at Torrey Pines, one of the most bizarre tournaments in history. That was in 2016. So a lot of like historical shot link stats. That is a record setter, that event. Yeah. So it was nearly historical stuff that Hideki pulled off. And arguably, even after the tee shot in regulation, he should have. He had a gap wedge. The church pews, I know they're there, but he could have elevated the ball. I think he hit that thin.
Dottie and I were carpooling for the week because even in the TV compound, it's mainly lunacidal like everywhere else, and getting traffic in and out there is a mission. So we were together, and on the way back to the hotel, I'm like, so I just heard that he thinned it into the lip. She goes, yeah. I'm like, huh? And she goes, yeah, honestly, it was a slide upslope, and it's like he was trying to hit the thing too high too early, and just basically essentially hit the middle of the golf ball with the front of the wedge.
Yeah, so it could have been historic stuff. I thought 16 under would be the number. Like I was thinking about Scotty going into Sunday. I thought he would have to get to 16 under to have any chance. He only gets to 15. Gotterup, who we liked on Friday, doesn't. It's not looking good going into Sunday. It's not looking good going into the last 6 holes, and he plays the last 6 5 under, which can happen there. It's just an incredible golf course for a PGA Tour event because of that finish. If you're driving it in play, you can make birdies. If you're not, those holes become a lot more difficult.
Rick, I want to say this as it pertains to Chris, because on Saturday I had his group, and it was a nice group. It was him and Akshay and Siwoo. I've had Siwoo basically every round here since the West Coast. On Sunday before the round, he goes, Mark, you with me? I'm like, yeah. He goes, good, we win this time. So he's because like now he's finished twice a couple of times. But Chris drove the ball great, couldn't really hit a wedge, and putted terribly. And his coach texted me on Saturday evening going, so you were out there, what gives? I'm like, I just think he was misreading greens a bunch because everything seemed to be missing low. And then, but I'm like, the way he drove it was biblical, and he just didn't take advantage of that. And so the following day, then the playoff, we're waiting for the playoff. So he's talking about the finish to his caddy, and I'm like, hey, I heard from your coach. He wanted to know what was going on. And then he said, yeah, I talked with my dad afterwards. This is Chris now. And my dad said, are you going to change putters? And Chris was like, no, man, I'm okay. Because essentially, it's not like he was out of it, but maybe he was out of it unless he did something special. And that's, again, speaks to how there's this no frills, I'm not stressing about things sort of a mindset from Gotterup, because he's like, yeah, man, I just missed putts. It's going to be okay. And turns out in the end, that putt he made on the playoff hole, that was lightning down the hill towards the valley. If you're a little frisky, you can whack that a good 4 feet past the hole. And that thing went in perfect tripping speed. So it was like he was a new guy. It was a new day, new putter, and it turned out great for him in the end.
Yeah, Hideki had kept the door slightly open to continue that playoff, but Chris Gotterup slammed it shut and got his 4th victory now on the PGA Tour, Greg. His 3rd since July, his 2nd since the start of this season. What are we looking at here?
We're looking at a primetime player. I mean, now you start to think about it. I know Myrtle Beach was the first win, and things didn't necessarily go great after that. But you think about what he did in Scotland, taking down Rory McIlroy face-to-face. Then he finishes 3rd in the Open the next week. You're wondering, is this a hot streak, or should we put him on the Ryder Cup team? And now you go to the Sony Open and win, and then you come to Phoenix, and you got Scotty Scheffler in the mix chasing you down. You got Hideki Matsuyama, who's never lost a 54-hole lead, right there in the mix, and you take down both of those guys and many others who are in there too, who are very high caliber players. I mean, there's nothing he can't do. I don't know what we're looking at here from a win total kind of thing. It's a really hard thing to predict right now, but it doesn't feel like a hot streak. It kind of feels like a guy that's just got things figured out, and he's this good, and this could last for some time.
Hey, Rick, you're the shepherd of this. May I add to what?
I'm begging you to.
Here's what I saw watching him play on Saturday. The driver is a weapon. It is a weapon. He's one of those guys that when he drives it blows your hair back, and he's surprisingly accurate. He's got all the shots. He's not married to a fade like everybody thinks. In fact, he hits a few more draws with the irons than one would think. But the cool thing is he hits both the draw and the fade from the same sort of stance. He's kind of like Lee Trevino in a way, where he hits the inside of the ball with an open stance. If he's really going to be dominant, the putting stroke has to evolve. It just has to. You cannot be dominant. We saw this with Scotty, a generational ball striker, didn't win like he should have because the putter held him back. And then the putting improved, and now he's Scotty Scheffler, the guy we know and love. So the putting needs to improve. And I just think once or twice, perhaps, that Gotterup is, again, unlike Scotty, a little too aggressive with some of the approach shots with scoring clubs. One thing he did really well and correctly on Sunday was that 16th hole. Look, the course was firm and fast, and it was in great shape. But 16 always, because it doesn't get much wind through there because the Coliseum's so high, that green bakes out like in the blink of an eye and gets firm. And that back hole location, if you hit it over the back, you're cooked. We saw that with Thorbjornsen, who I was on that group. And I heard that Chris hit wedge from 179 yards on 16. So I asked him during the break, I think it was 175 or something, the hole was playing. I'm like, did you really hit wedge? Because Thor hit 9 over the back of the green. He goes, yeah, I figured I'd hit it as hard as I can. And if it got to the flag, great. If it didn't, 25, 30 feet in the middle of the green is just fine. And when he said that to me, despite me critiquing his wedge play some, that is a guy who's very aware of like what needs to happen when you're in contention. You know, even though he's trying to chase down the leader, he's understanding that the whole location on 16 is basically a fool's errand attacking the thing. And so he played the right shot. So from my point of view, he's got a lot of good stuff going on for him. There's some areas he can improve. And then the beauty, though, and I love it because I put a video of him. Well, there's been a couple on my social, where he's firing a big hole in all of the cadre of internet golf instructors who are all singing off the same song sheet about, deep arms, shallow the club on the way down, rotate BS. And he has Gotterup, who looks like a blend of Jack Nicklaus and Sam Snead and Lee Trevino all together, just doing it his own way. And so what I'm trying to say is, he's not married to what people think. He has a guy that never even does up the Velcro on his glove when he hits. He's just, I'm me, this is what I do. I'm quite content with who I am. And to me, that's a big deal when it comes to really making a splash on the world stage, because it's so easy to start to kind of play to make the fans and the sponsors and everyone happy. He's like, I'm Chris, this is what we do, and this is all I know how to do. And that is a feather in his cap as well.
2 wins in 2026, teeing it up at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am this week. That'll be the first time he plays that event. And Chris Gotterup now a 4-time winner, Mark.
Got to say this again. Remember last week I pointed out how he was favored over Colin Morikawa in a head-to-head, and it was an indictment. Gosh, lo and behold, look at what we got now. I don't think you can get Morikawa as a favorite over Gotterup at all for the rest of the year now.
It's going to be quite some time, and to think one of those guys was a shoe-in for the Ryder Cup team, the other one we left at home. That's a
different conversation.
A little bit of a different story. Mina, do we have the updated numbers from last week? Because I'm sure this was eating Mark alive. As much as he was enjoying watching Chris Gotterup win that event, it was taking money away from one Hideki Matsuyama. Though, Mark, Hideki still got you a million bones, I believe. We're going to get the official numbers here. Yeah, there we go. 1.046 for Hideki is still a very, very good week.
During the break, I think it was after 16 and we went to commercial. And so our producer might have had a little wager going on with the producer. And he gave me the field versus, I got Hideki versus the field. Anyway, so my producer during the break goes, yeah, it looks like I'm going to have to pay you. I'm like, well, look, he's still got to get past 17's tee shot, which was riddled with disaster. And I didn't even consider 18. So somehow he keeps the thing on dry ground there and makes 4 on 16. So now I'm breathing a little easier. And then I'm like, on 18, it's the age-old story, right? Butch Harmon once said to me that his dad gave him a lesson. He goes, son, if you're on 18T at Pebble Beach and you got a 1-stroke lead, he goes, if the toe overtakes the heel, you lose. He goes, if the heel stays in front of the toe, you win. So I'm like, he's missed it in 2 directions, Hideki. Hold tight with that left hand, fan that face open, put the thing on dry ground, and you're good. Even in the bunkers down the right. But lo and behold, he tweaks one in the left bunker, and then you're cooked. So long-winded to say, I was kind of sweating the last couple of holes, and sadly, it came up 1 shy.
The toe beat the heel, and you lost.
I lost, exactly.
Still at the top of our one-and-done standings, I believe. Mina, do we have the updated? I think we have the updated numbers. Maybe once, going twice, maybe we don't. Either way, very good week, Mark. Oh, there we go. 1.7 million. I've cracked through 1 million. I'm at 1.09. Mina 408. Gregers. I'll tell you what, Greg. Don't panic yet. We've got a signature event this week. It's time to make some cash for you, big boy.
Yes. I'm not panicking. You'll see that in my pick this week.
So you're not emptying the holster in a panic to try and earn $2.5 million or whatever it is, right?
No, I think it's 3.5.
Oh gosh, now I'm nervous.
I think it is 3.5.
Really?
This is what it all comes down to. You're a pick away. I mean, I'm getting drummed right now, but it could be a very different story next week.
3.6 million.
I think it's 3.6. Yeah. Yeah. And then the 3 with a cut, I think are like 4 million, aren't they?
Huh?
Riviera.
Next week.
Bay Hill and Memorial, I think, are 4.
So what's the players?
might be.
Because they're trying to make the players the most
Players is
lucrative
4.5, isn't it?
event.
It probably. I mean, it's a $25 million purse.
I think it's
so,
4.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some events that are. Look, Mark, if you can get 7 figures in a non-signature event, you've done a great job.
Correct.
But you have to get
7 figures in a player. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The signature events you gotta pay off in these.
That's one of the wisest observations you've made, Greg. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
It's math. Very good math.
Thank you.
I think we had a lot of close but no cigars on the grid. Is that correct? Mina's going to provide me the grid. Yeah, a couple of Hidekis in there, some McNeelys, some Scotties, but no Chris Gotterups, though we did sweep the matchups, which was nice, but we had it surrounded, and TPC Scottsdale got us on Sunday. As it tends to do.
Could have been a huge week for Mark.
Good week, though. Good week all around.
Why did Jordan miss the cut?
Yep.
Yeah.
He was like 3 under on day one, wasn't he?
Yeah, then he doubled or tripled his last hole of the day, and then just ejected on Friday.
Oh, man. Okay.
He had it in control for 17 holes on Thursday.
Yeah, because he was grouped with Hideki and Scotty, wasn't it, in day one?
Yeah. He was
in a
fine.
big group. He was fine.
All right.
Not anymore.
Real quick, before we get to Phoenix, I have...
Get to Pebble Beach.
Yeah, before we get to Pebble Beach, I have breaking news. Charlie Woods has committed to Florida State.
Oh, no. We kind of knew that was coming. Yeah, Alabama had an outside shot, but yeah, we knew that was coming. But that's bad news for me.
Posted it on Instagram. He's class of 2027. He will go to Florida State. That, Mark, as you're kind of getting into it, there are a handful of really blue chip men's golf programs out there. I think Florida State would certainly fall into that category.
Yeah, and given that Blades Brown is going to be playing there next year. No, not Blades Brown.
I was going to say that would be impressive.
Lefty superstar, 17-year-old from Jacksonville. I'm having
oh my gosh, Miles
Russell.
Miles Russell.
Yeah, Miles Russell. He's going there, and I understand that the NIL number he's getting is $500,000. So,
well, I'll tell you what, that's going to look like chump change compared to whenever Nike comes in or whoever. Like, it's going to be outrageous, the NIL money he's going to make.
Well, they are a Nike school now, so yeah.
Pretty good, Greg. Pretty good time to be a college athlete with a big name and following and all that fun stuff.
You know, I'm not sure there was ever a bad time to be a Woods. Maybe before Tiger came along.
That's true.
But for the last 50 years, it's been good to be a Woods, and that'll continue. Now it's good to be a Knoll. That'll draw a lot of attention to college golf.
Other notable Knolls.
Brooks Koepka.
Burger.
Brooks Koepka.
Boom, boom. Koepka Burger. Yep.
Luke Clanton.
Luke Clanton.
Yep.
I'm just looking at Wikipedia, so.
Paul
Azinger.
Jumps out at me. Lottie
Zinger.
Wode.
Azinger. That's really it. I mean, they have a lot of professional golfers.
Azinger was in a community college, Brevard, for a few seasons, then went to Florida State after that.
Yeah, there's also a couple of like Vincent Norman, I think, was Florida State and then Oklahoma.
No, Vincent Norman came from a Division II school called Georgia Southwestern. And the only reason why I went to Florida State was the COVID year. And the Florida State assistant coach, Robert Duck, who's a dear friend of mine, called me up and he goes, this Vincent kid's good, isn't he? I'm like, dude, he'll be the best player you got. And it turns out that John Park was the #1 player in the nation the year before. He's a Florida State guy. Yep. And Vincent came in there and dusted John Park like it was yesterday's news. So, so they got some good stuff over there.
All
The
right. Well, tell me
facility
what.
is not as good as Alabama's, though, Charlie. I don't know what you're doing. I
Yeah.
really don't.
Okay. Well, we'll see about that. All right. Pebble Beach. I think I'm gonna sneeze, Greg. Hold on a second.
Okay. Well, we'll try to vamp for a second.
Okay.
It can help to look up at the light.
Does
Usually
it?
that gets it out.
I've suppressed it for now. This will be our first signature event of the year. This will be Gregor's Rory McIlroy's season debut. He has been playing a lot of golf on the World Tour, but back to defend his crown.
Very interesting. This was his first event last year when he won. First event on the PGA Tour. So he's doing that again. Rory's a really hard one to figure out, in my opinion. The good news is, you're right, to your point. You know, he played 2 events in January in Dubai. He played in December. He played in November and in October. So he hasn't really had that long off season. I think you're talking about 6 events on the DP World Tour between the Ryder Cup and now. That's healthy. You know, he should be in fine form. There's been no long layoff. Finished tied 33rd at the Dubai Desert Classic, and the week before that he finished tied 3rd in Dubai. So I think it looks like Rory's going to be in pretty good form. The big question for me is, now that he's won at Pebble, does he still view it the same way? Like an iconic venue he wants to check off the list? Where's his focus and attention this week? That'll be the biggest question for Rory. And if it's high, well, he'll be playing in all that wind on Sunday and rain.
Oh, wind and rain in the forecast on Sunday. I'm sure that might change like
So
10
happy
times
about that.
by the time we get there. Mark, it's interesting, right? I mean, I think we're at the point now where nobody questions the talent, obvious. I mean, goes without saying, of Rory McIlroy, but more of the attention and focus of Rory McIlroy seems to be the only question.
True. I can agree with that. The thing for me with the form, it smells a lot like last year to me. When he came in here and it was sort of 50-50, and it was a work in progress, I think we could call it, and there were questions unanswered. Driving the ball well, but the iron game was a little ragged. And then all of a sudden he puts together that 65 in a blustery cold day that I was privy to, which was unreal to watch. And he was playing a different game. You know, the golf swing had gotten better. The ball was flighted. There wasn't just flat out full bore Rory all the time. He was playing sort of managerial smart golf, and he outlasted the field. And I sort of feel the same way now, because the little bit I saw of him playing in Dubai, it looked great when it was great, and it kind of looked not great at all when it wasn't great. And the irons were still a little iffy. But I understand he's been changing irons and testing and stuff like that. So I'm sure they got this stuff dialed, because it gets fast now, because you've got Pebble, then you've got Riviera, 2 signature events. Then he won't play Cognizant, and then you've got Bay Hill and the Players. So it starts happening quick now. And then there's a Masters defense in just 6 weeks time or something. So it's when these guys are looking to roll into some form. And whereas I'm sure, he'll be testing it, because you'll get weather here and you'll have to control trajectory and stuff. You'll be playing test. But I get the sense that even though people are questioning the interest, that when he gets the bit between his teeth, I'm sure he's going to be up to conquer this place again.
Mark mentioned, Greg, being managerial, being strategic around Pebble Beach. This is a golf course that on the scorecard is very short, very small greens. I think that even if we went back to last year, there would have been people who said, is this a place that Rory McIlroy, can use his best weapon, the driver? Is he going to have to do it a little bit differently this time around? That's kind of what you'd expect when we get 70 some odd of the best players. They're going to have to be a little bit more strategic, yes?
Yes. Although Rory was still second last year in driving distance, all drives.
He hit a lot more drivers than I thought he was going to.
He
I remember that.
he still used that advantage.
Yeah.
It's a classic, like, less than driver golf course. And when I assess a lot of these players, it's like, well, if driver's a weakness, I'm kind of all right with it. There's probably a workaround to some degree you can put in play here. That's not what Rory did last year. And it's not what Wyndham did in 2024. Wyndham was third in driving distance. That's the all drives category. So I find it interesting that, 3 out of the last 5 winners were top 10 in driving distance for the week. Daniel Berger was the other. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways you can play Pebble Beach. And Rory showed us last year you can utilize the driver, which is a strategy, mind you.
That's true. That is a strategy. Almost everything is a strategy, whether it's good or bad. It is a strategy. Rory McIlroy will not be the only one making his PGA Tour debut. Tommy Fleetwood is back in action this week. Mark Shane Lowry is back in action this week. So this is that natural return point for some of the guys that might have been spending the last few months, particularly overseas, to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, it kind of feels like way back in the day, it was the blue chippers showed up for the Florida swing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because of signature events and stuff, they come to the West Coast. But I personally, because I'm in love with Pebble Beach, even when it was a pro-am, there's just so much history there, and it's such a wonderful place for golf. I think a lot of golfers now starting to realize the virtues of it, even though you've normally got a very receptive golf course. But you got to do things like control spin to the small greens and flight the golf ball, even if the weather's good, and drive the ball well, because at certain holes, you can get yourself into some trouble. So for all of them getting back into it on the PGA Tour, it's a good start, because it's completely different to Riviera next week in terms of the examination. So you get a quick handle on exactly where the game is before you start to have some like really, really big events like the Players. So for these guys like Shane and Tommy and these guys coming back now, it's a cool place to start. It's a great venue. They all enjoy it, but it's also a really cool way to kind of get a barometer for exactly where your game is as the PGA Tour season now really begins to crank it up.
Speaking of your love for Pebble Beach, I have a question from Patreon, and I'm just going to read it. And I want you to know, Mark, that this is not my question. I'm just the messenger, and I would like to survive this. It's from Chapman, and it says, can we get Mark's firsthand account on Bing Crosby saving this tournament with his own money and resources in 1945? Is that golf lore, or is it a true story? So I don't know if he's referring to you being part of the money and resources, but I'm certain he is referring to you as old in this.
Yeah, he thinks you were there.
Yeah, bro.
You brokered the deal.
Yeah. Right after you fell off your dinosaur.
I wish I brokered the deal. You wouldn't be seeing me now. That's the thing. No, but I will say this, jokes aside. It is, there's certain places that when you walk them, you like, wow, Jack Nicklaus hit a shot from there. And then Tiger Woods hit a 7-iron from in the rough on the right side of the 6 on the green. And Roger Maltby said, most brilliant call ever. It's just not a fair fight. And then, so you go to these cathedrals, and then like the old course in Augusta National and the Players to a certain extent at TPC Sawgrass. But Pebble's just one of those. And so for Bing Crosby back in the day to have the vision, first off to, marry professional golf, big business, and the entertainment industry, that was genius. And that was so good for just kind of putting golf on the television map a little bit too. So people can say it was Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus that kind of put golf, into television. CBS is married to Pebble Beach, and this is like a jewel in the CBS crown. So I'm personally thankful that if indeed that deal was done, I wasn't there. I'm glad it was done.
All right, let's use an opportunity with the grid to start talking about some more players in this field and their chances for this week. Each week, Armina gives us an opportunity to pick one matchup, one finishing position, and 2 separate outrights of our choice. That's what you just saw in the previous segment, recapping the Phoenix Open. We're going to do it now, looking forward to Pebble Beach. And Mina, whenever you are ready, release the grid. Thank you kindly. And I want to start with our matchups. And I find your matchup, Greg, to be rather fascinating, because you've got two players that are playing some fantastic golf here in 2026 going up against one another.
Yes, I have Maverick McNeely at plus 110 over Siwoo Kim. Siwoo Kim's a scary guy to go against right now. Mark knows every shot he is hitting is going right at the flag. And if it's not, he's dropped his club in disgust and it ends up, 10 feet left of it. So why would I pick Maverick McNeely over Siwoo Kim in a matchup? The putting has been a little better for Siwoo. And I think that the biggest defense of Pebble Beach is the greens. If you look at Pebble Beach in comparison to other events on the PGA Tour, by far the hardest aspect relative to other tour stops is the putting. That 4 to 8 foot range, inside of 10 feet, even 20 to 25 feet, they're very difficult greens to putt. And that's really where I think you might see a slight dip in Siwoo's performance. But I also am very high on Maverick McNeely. It's now 3 straight weeks. Rick, we look at this all the time as an indicator.
Yeah.
Every single category, he's gained strokes for 3 straight weeks. It's very rare. And it's a great indicator of future success. And he's coming to a place he loves.
Basically, his home course.
Yes.
Yeah.
It basically is. Although, Mark, I remind everybody of this every year, as you as a father, you've got to keep your children in perspective and keep them grounded. And I'm happy to announce that Maverick McNeely was not allowed to play Pebble Beach until he turned 16. So that was really kept him grounded all those years.
Or got his way into the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Just for the record. Greg's right about the greens because especially if they've had rain, they get kind of bouncy, and 3 and 4 footers are hair raising in that place. And Siwoo, if there is a weakness, is the putter. But I'm struggling with Maverick McNeely around here because a few seasons ago, I had him in one and done, and he was playing just fine. Then he was playing Pebble Beach with still 3 rotations: Spyglass, MPCC, Monterey, and Pebble. And he walks off after 9 on Pebble Beach because he had shot like 41, and apparently he was injured. So I still have scar tissue about that.
Well, he's healthy now.
Okay.
Hopefully he doesn't have scar tissue from whatever that injury was.
I'm going to give my matchup because it actually goes to Mark, I picked this out because of you, basically. It's Jake Knapp, a pretty sizable favorite, minus 150.
Wow.
Over Colin Morikawa. Now, let's remember that usually accuracy and precision reign supreme around Pebble Beach. Colin Morikawa is going to play out of the fairway. He's historically one of the better iron players in the world. And Jake Knapp, known bomber, is a favorite over Colin Morikawa. I think this very much speaks to the state of Colin Morikawa's game. And I saw this, Mark, and I could not pass it up.
I think the folks in Vegas saw the video of Colin Morikawa hitting a chip shot 3 feet in front of him in Phoenix last week. Hey. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah,
look, Jake Knapp, I chatted with him last week, and I was watching him on the range, and he is just it's glorious to watch that golf swing, but man, he is hitting the thing nice. And Californians on Poania are a thing. I know Colin's Californian, but Jake he's one of the form guys on tour right now, in my opinion.
There's no surface that will help Colin at the moment. You, Mark, have found, speaking of Florida State notables, you found yourself a Florida State notable.
Yeah, in the interests of going with one names and stuff, Daniel Berger's nickname with the boys is Bug. And he's just sort of quietly sneaking around the place, and the game's coming around, and more importantly, he's healthy. And he's won here before. And he's just a gamer, and the wind's supposed to blow some, and the guy can hit it head high, but like literally head high. Sepp Straka, this is no indictment on Sepp. I love the game, but he hasn't been at his very best just yet. So Bug over Sepp at plus 105 for me, please.
All right. Finishing positions, Mark, let's bounce it right back to you. You have a top 20 for this week.
Everyone talks about the guy who won Pebble Beach last year, and that was Rory McIlroy. Well, runner-up was his bud from Ireland, Shane Lowry. So I feel like Lowry getting inside the top 20 for plus 186 was worth a little wager over there, because He's got the perfect skill set for this place. Can play in the wind, wonderful pitcher and putter on these small greens, and kind of got the attitude to embrace, if you will, kind of the ragged weather. So Shane inside the top 20, I'm pretty confident about.
Yeah, he also is another one of these guys that's played a ton on the DP World Tour since the Tour Championship and to great results. So Shane Lowry, top 20, plus 186. I went almost as far down the betting board as you can go. I think there were only two guys in this field longer than Brian Campbell. His 7.5 to 1 number to finish inside the top 20 is basically 3 times that of Rory McIlroy to win, or excuse me, Scotty Scheffler to win this golf tournament. That's what we're talking about for Brian Campbell to finish on the first 2 pages. But I said, hit his irons well last week, putted well last week. And if there was ever a golf course, if there was ever a golf course where his lack of distance, and I mean that, didn't matter, I hope it is here.
I hope you're actually putting your own money on that, because that's a really good pull there, Richard. Very nice.
I always do. And I hope that it comes through. Brian Campbell, top 20 for me. Greg, what'd you find?
Victor Hovland, top 10 at plus 210. He finished tied 10th last week in his season opener. And I think things are looking really good for Victor Hovland. The one thing he mentioned is he's struggling with the driver. And I think that's mitigated here for a number of reasons. One, if it's really soft and you're in the rough, that can almost be like an advantage. I saw on the fact sheet 2 to 3 inches for the rough. And if it's at 2, that's very insignificant. And if it's supposed to rain Wednesday all day. And if the greens are really soft, a big problem at Pebble tends to be overspinning. So it's not that you're going to aim for the rough, but Victor Hovland doesn't seem to be able to hit very many fairways lately. I think that's actually going to work in his favor. The rest of his game looks sharp. I like Hovland top 10, plus 210.
Plus 210 for Victor to finish inside the top 10. Plus 186 for Shane Lowry to finish inside the top 20. Brian Campbell, please. Top 20 plus 740.
You buying if you hit that bet. Buying dinner.
Oh,
yes.
Deal. Winners. We've got, Greg's trying to go perfect.
Yep.
Do I see a little bit of overlap? Okay, we can get to that. How about let's go, Greg, your shortest golfer.
I mean, if we're talking about odds, then I know,
True.
I know where to go. If it's height, it's a different story. This is Scotty Scheffler, plus 295. I got to stand by my word here, right? He's a 50% winner in my estimation. He lost last week. He's the only guy that you could really talk about like that. It's not that he played well and missed the playoff by 1. He lost last week, so he's going to win this week. I think it happens.
Just every other. Okay, we've got Scotty on the grid, plus 295 to a surprise for no one. Mark,
Yep.
you must have liked Greg's finishing position, because that man comes up on your outright board.
You interrupting me. I was trying to subscribe to the Second Cut podcast on YouTube.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes, I'm really high on Victor, and I'll tell you why. Because this is like the perfect situation where he can kind of, show you guys that bow at the altar of strokes gained the real truth about golf. And I love him because he's got a beautifully crazy mind and he's just so easy to smile. But then I love the way he gets so frustrated when he's not hitting the ball like he should. Because he'll hit a ball on line and it'll draw instead of fade and finish at the flag, and he'll be aggravated. And that's the whole thing. He's been so aggravated and went on this golf swing reconstructional journey. He's now hooked up with Grant Waite, which is like, to me, it's like fuel for his fire, because Grant is very technical. But they've gotten to a place now where Victor mentions that the ball's coming out like he's expecting, especially with the driver. He said, I used to get aggravated when I'd look up and the ball would be drawing instead of fading, but it's in the fairway. Where now he's like, things coming out like I'm expecting. So now I can, if I go to the golf course, I don't have to be nervous about what may happen. He goes, now things are a bit more predictable. So I'm like, I'm digging the sound of this. And then he played nicely last week, and he showed a little, showed some moxie there down the stretch under pressure. And he's won the US Amateur here. And I remember calling him here a few times over the last few years for CBS, which means he was in one of the last few groups. So clearly he's happy around this place, and he's kind of happy with the golf swing. So stay tuned. I think this may be a good week.
Happy Hovland goes a long way, plus 2,700. I'll go and I will build off of Mark's finishing position of Shane Lowry top 20. I have him to win at 64-1. I think that he is a very strong short game player. And I think that he, in recent months or years, has gotten a lot better in the ball striking categories. I agree. Everyone forgot that he finished runner up here last year to Rory McIlroy, because that was the story. And we just haven't seen him in America. And this number is much too long in a field of 70 some odd players for Shane Lowry to finish first. 64-1 for me. Gregory, you and I have the same player. You have gone for the perfect grid, and you are going to deploy him without Mr. Scheffler. So you're getting slightly shorter odds than I am at 24.5-1. I'm getting this golfer at 30-1. Please tell the world who we're talking about.
We're talking about Russell Henley, who finished 5th here last year. And, again, it's like the distance off the tee shouldn't be an issue. Should be a perfect fit for him. His iron play has been spectacular, as you would expect. I mean, but lately it's been really good. I mean, in just the 2 rounds that he played at the stadium course, he picked up like nearly 5 shots to the field approaching the green. I believe it was 4.7 exact, 4.2. Phenomenal performance. So he finished tied 8th there. I think this setup is even better for him. I'm expecting a very good week. Solo second out of Russell Henley is my final prediction.
All right. We've got the guy in first. We've got the guy in second. We've got somebody in the top 10. We've got McNeely over C. Greg, we can give you a chance to just lay out the entire final standings if you'd like.
All right. So first is Scotty Scheffler. Second, Russell Henley.
Yeah.
Third is Victor Hovland.
Okay.
Fourth is Shane Lowry.
Okay.
You'll be surprised. Our grid we're all over it.
We're all over it.
If we get to like T, this is the unfortunate thing. Brian Campbell's going to finish T23.
Oh, dang.
So if you want to adjust now, I'd go get a top 30 on him if it's even available.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Because that will hit.
Mark, we already have a guy who's won twice this year.
Yeah.
If your winner comes through, you'll add another to that list. Who is it?
He's the Englishman, Justin Rose, who apparently is evergreen.
Why not?
This is the way I see it. First off, I like to remind our best buddy Gregors that this was a regression candidate of 2026, according to him.
It's not looking great, Greg.
Who's professing the.
No, it's looking terrible.
So here it is. First off, Justin Rose has won here. He's finished like in 3rd place here. He's at various top 5s, and the golf course fits right into his skill set. Okay, so if he hadn't won in Pebble, I would have considered this anyhow. But then he won in Pebble and looked absolutely flawless. And I'm like, okay, I understand this. I'm going to go with Rick and I, who've decided it's not like we're going to avoid the guy who just won. We're going to ride the wave until the wave chucks us, right, Rick?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, this is a good thing. But the truth is, I watched Justin Rose play, and I'm not so sure. Now, at the risk of sounding hyperbolic and recency bias and all those things, I'm not sure that I've seen a more flawless display of golf from one golfer than I saw Justin Rose at Torrey Pines around a very demanding venue. So my theory is to myself, and I'm justifying here for various reasons, that even if he has a fall off, he's still got some wiggle room to go, So even if he doesn't play at his best, the way he was playing just 2 short weeks ago, was out of this world. So Justin Rose plus 2,800. I'm surprised he's not lower odds than that. I really am not, given his history around here.
History is fantastic around.
I have
Pebble
him as
Beach.
a T6, by the way. This
Oh,
week.
really?
So you're
I'm
close,
sorry,
Mark.
Okay.
Yep. Very, very good pick, but close.
Close. Rosie, 28-1. Hovland, 27-1. Russell without Scotty, 24.5. Russell with Scotty, 30-1. Shane Lowry, 64-1, and probably the guy who's going to win, Scotty Scheffler at plus 295. If you're tuning in and you like this, hit the subscribe button. Goes a long way for us. Costs you nothing. It is generally a fair trade. The Pro-Am pairings just came out. I got to admit, I don't recognize a lot of these names. Probably CEOs and stuff. But those that I recognize, Keith Mitchell and Travis Kelce will play together.
No,
Not bad.
dude.
Corey Connors and Jake Owen. Jake Owen's the country singer, right?
He normally plays with Jordan Spieth. Hey, buddy. What happened?
Is Jordan's? Yeah.
Jordan has to play.
Jordan's not playing well enough.
No, he's not playing well enough. Garrick Higo and Steve Young, pair of lefties.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, boy. I don't know any of these people. Ricky Fowler and Condoleezza Rice.
Wow, that's cool.
Okay.
Mackenzie Hughes and Alex Smith.
Governor Ron DeSantis is playing with Billy Horschel.
Billy Horschel and Ron DeSantis. Pau Gasol and Nico Echeverria.
Wow.
There's going to be no English in that group there.
Spanish will work.
Yeah,
I think this is Tony Finau and Ryan Smith. I think Ryan Smith is the guy who owns like everything in Utah. He owns like the hockey team.
Yeah.
Maybe the Jazz, maybe the Arena. I think that's that guy. I don't really know the rest.
Yeah, it would make sense. He owns
It's
Utah.
weird. I got to tell you, it's weird not seeing Tony Finau in Nike clothes. It is really, really weird.
Well, have you gotten used to Jason Day? I mean, I feel like it's weird for like a bit, and then it starts to like now I'm like very much more comfortable with Day.
Jason Day's outfits are not as like brash as what they were when he first came out. It's like Melbourne.
That's very true.
Make a real splash. Now he's kind of looking, just not country clubby, but just not as like,
He doesn't look like he's going to fly away on his pants.
or he's showing up in his lounge suit or his
Right.
pants. Yeah.
He did that at Pebble Beach last year? No?
Yeah, it was the funniest thing. My brother Trevor scored out of it because on TV, Trevor goes, "What did he lose his luggage?"
I remember that. And they sent him a package, right?
They sent Trevor the same outfit in a care package that Jason was wearing. It was very clever.
That's
I remember that.
good
That was a
marketing, good
line.
outcome. Now, quite possibly the most important part of the show. We have to reveal our one and done selections. And gentlemen, it is getting very serious now with $20 million in the purse for this week. And we do this in a proper reveal. Mina will show us the silhouettes of the golfers. And then the sickos in the chat will somehow figure out.
The sickos.
They all look exactly the same to me.
They do. It looks like some of them are flipped, but they're the same player.
Oh, do you think Mina's flipping them? Do you think she's trying to throw them off the scent?
Yes. I think
Wow.
she's doing that.
Mina, it looks like you and I got the same one, which is good news because you picked the AI bet. This is good.
It wasn't last week, Mark.
Okay,
I
true.
do,
All right.
I do know the answer, so I do know that you two have the same pick. All right. We've got to go left to right here to get the reveal proper. So, Mr. Greg, with a chance to improve on your total of $147,000, your pick for the Pebble Beach Pro-Am is?
Well, I told you who was going to win. I told you who was going to come in solo second. But it's not either of those. I'm going with the guy that's going to come in solo third, Victor Hovland.
Does that get you 6 figures, 7 figures?
It should get me close.
Solo
But I think
third
I'm going to do
probably
better
will.
with Scotty. And Henley's going to win a big one down the line, which I'll get. I won't tell you which one, but it will happen.
I used to have, here we go, the tie table. The tie table. Solo third would get you 1.36 million.
You're
That's all
good,
I
Greg.
need.
You're
That's
good,
all I
Greg.
need.
You said all you needed was 7 figures in the Siggies.
Yep.
So solo fourth would get you close, 960,000.
Wow.
Well, let's see if anybody has the guy who finishes solo fourth. I know who it is.
A 9-way tie for second will get you 930,000. Okay, now I'm deep into the tie table. Okay, I am going with Russell Henley.
All right,
There he
nice, Rick. That's
Yeah.
a huge week for you.
That's second place.
Solo second.
I'll take it. Can I just add it to my stats right now?
Pencil it in now.
Solo second would be 2.16. That is plenty, Russell. I will not be greedy.
You still won't overtake me with that.
Well, it depends on what your guy does. I will take that right now. Yeah, this is just, we talked about it. We've got 12 signature events. Probably going to use Russell at one of them. This feels like the one to use him at. So Russell Henley for me. Mr. Mark, you are going to battle $1.7 million at the top, about $600,000 clear of me. Who will you deploy around Pebble Beach this week?
I'll gladly take anywhere from $600,000 to $1 million this week. Okay. And our producer, Mina, who is on top of everything, has realized that I actually predicted this in an HQ show on Monday. So I've been on this one for a bit. I've glowed about him. I picked him as one of my outrights. The golf I saw in Torrey Pines was bordering on sexual.
Oh, Jesus, Mark.
Let me take a breath. So, yeah, Justin Rose. He loves this place. Shower. I love Justin Rose right now. His golf swing is great. He putts these greens well. I'm just going to stop and just, fingers crossed, thumbs held, prayers up. Let's go, J Rose.
Three-way tie for sixth, Rick. How much?
A three-way tie for sixth is 665,000. He said he'd
not
take
bad,
that.
Mark. Not bad.
I'll take that.
Mark, I don't want you to shortchange yourself. You predicted Justin Rose winning Pebble Beach in January on the season preview show that we did.
Really?
Yes.
Hey, Greg.
Sticking with it.
Sticking with it.
Yeah, you were almost just 5 spots away.
Yeah, well, a couple of weeks early.
Couple of weeks early. Yep.
No regret. Here's the thing. No regression whatsoever.
No.
No, none.
No, an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't tell from the silhouette, which I don't know how anybody can, Mina has also selected Justin Rose. Mina's got $408,000. She has gone Hideki, Cantlay, Day, Cam Young. They've all been okay results. She's going to get Justin Rose here. So it's Hovland for Greg, Henley for me, Rosie for both Mark and Mina, and a hell of a lot of money on the line.
Yep, let's do it.
Congratulations, Rick. You won the week.
Thank you.
Everybody performed well. Huge week for us on the second cut.
I accept it
Rick,
now.
Rick, is this when I tell you that I went to my physio yesterday afternoon, who is Russell Henley's trainer?
Yeah.
So how's Russ doing? And he said he was a little, hadn't been playing much golf and the mobility was a little off. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm joking. But I did talk to him about Russell and he goes, no, Russell's in good nick. Everything's fine.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I have an insider report for you. I saw Lee Hodges at Chick-fil-A in the Atlanta airport yesterday.
Wow.
Seems to be doing good.
Yeah, that's where Chick-fil-A was invented over there.
Yeah.
In fact,
do you place a bet on him on the way out, or that's what you do on the way in?
On the way in, but he's like, where's he even playing? Where's he going?
Next time you see him, he's got to be playing somewhere.
Well, he was in Phoenix, right? He's probably just going home.
Maybe he's just going home. Yeah, maybe he's just going home. He's coming. He's going, not coming.
There are a number of luminaries. I was talking with guys on the range, and I've got to say this, for all of the critique and stuff that was doled out about this Aon Swing 5 and the next 10 and this sort of stuff, all the players on the range are talking about it, and they all kind of know prior to the final round. Like I was talking with Lance Bennett, who's Thorbjornsen's caddy, used to caddy for Tiger amongst other people, Matt Kuchar before then. I'm like, is he in next week? And he goes, I think he needs solo third for the Aon Swing 5. So these good dudes are knowing what's going on because they know that qualifying for this gets you in both the next 2 weeks. And so long-winded to say there's a number of guys that you would think are playing these next two events, but they got the time off. So hopefully that this is good for the Cognizant field, which normally has suffered given the two events right thereafter.
Yeah, the little mini sprints they're definitely good for the game. You get the hot players in the signature events, a chance to continue the hot play and something to play for week in and week out. Good on you. I always forget the name. Which one? The next 10? I know that's at the end of the year, the swing, but otherwise, excellent.
Yeah, very much.
Okay, Mr. Mark, we're gonna let you go.
Yep, I'm on a
Good
sick
stuff,
train
Mark.
tomorrow morning. I had travel nightmare to and from Phoenix, but early to Pebble, have some lunch. Then we're meeting with the new commissioner.
Send him our best, will you?
CEO. Yeah, so it starts earnestly tomorrow afternoon at about 4 p.m. local.
All right, Mark Immelman will be headed out to the greatest. What is it? Connection of land and sea. Greatest meeting.
Yeah, the greatest meeting of land and sea. Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
Great.
Bye.
Goodbye, Mark. We'll see you. Safe
Have
travels.
fun, Mark.
Mark_Immelman on the socials, as he says. But Gregors, it's time to get to work.
Yes.
It is time to name the names, to go through this fantasy portion of the show. And I was just clicking through in the green room before we went hot. And I actually saw something on DraftKings for fantasy. Again, I want to clarify. This is for fantasy that caught my attention. They are offering without Scheffler fantasy contests where Rory McIlroy is the $11,500 and he is the most expensive golfer. So that concept of the without Scotty market has now, as far as I'm aware, for the first time, infiltrated daily fantasy golf.
Wild. And it's understandable. I mean, it's really tough to get a Scotty lineup without a 5K range.
But it doesn't have to be. They can just make him $12,000.
Right. Yeah, they can. I mean, they could make him 7,500.
Yeah, and really, let's see what happens.
Right? I mean, that's the thing about pricing is they do it in order, so I'm a believer that it has way less of an effect. And the only time you get value, like when we look at value plays, we say things like, all he's got to do is make the cut. That assumes that the more expensive players perform. Right. So it's an arbitrary thing, but that's why it's called fantasy, as you say.
Fantasy, yes, it's all one big fantasy. Par is a social construct. Fantasy is this whole thing is just completely made up. It doesn't. None of it matters. None of it
arbitrary.
None of it matters. It's all arbitrary. All right. Each week, you put together a short list, a handful of golfers in the 9K range and above. 8K, 7s, 6s. We can talk about them. I can show you the stats on my website. Mina, I am sharing my screen. Don't release it yet, but I am sharing my screen. But before we even get to the tiers, I demand that you provide us with a golfer of the week, Greg's golfer of the week, the GGOW, if you will. And this week, you have told me that the GGOW is who?
Victor Hovland.
Victor Hovland with that smirk on his face in his headshot, coming off a T10 at the Phoenix Open. He has got you. He's got you, Greg. You're in his grasp.
He's got my attention for so many reasons, Rick. I look at what he's done with his iron play, and like Shane Lowry, who you were talking about earlier, like Shane Lowry, he's played on the DP World Tour quite a bit this offseason. And in all of those events, he's gained at least 2 strokes approaching the green since the Ryder Cup, which has been fantastic. But what's really caught my attention is his short game. He's gained strokes around the green in 7 straight events, measured events. That excludes the Ryder Cup, of course. 7 straight. And it's been over a full shot in the last 4, sometimes 2. This is extremely impressive. He putted well last week. I trust Victor Hovland with the putter in his hand. I think he's an underrated putter. Sometimes the short game struggles and putting kind of gets lumped into your mind. there's no problem for Victor Hovland putting here. If there is a problem, it's his driver, and I don't think it's going to be an issue here. So he seems to check every box. I think he's the golfer of the week.
All right, he is the golfer of the week. He's $9,900 on DraftKings. Now, your 9K and above range, these are the popular names. We have spoken about a lot of them. I'll try to take this from a little bit of a different angle here, Greg, because let's have the Scottie Scheffler conversation. It's $14,000. You were saying something a little bit earlier about, hey, those cheap guys, I just need them to make the cut. Well, there is no cut this week. So does that make you more likely to get down into the depths knowing that you're going to get a guaranteed 4 rounds, or does that make it harder because those guys might have a more difficult time separating themselves because half the field's not getting cut?
Look at the projected ownership.
I know.
Right?
Silly.
It's like it's nearly 50-50. So you actually get a slight edge if you take him. He's probably going to win. He's almost guaranteed to be in the optimal lineup.
Dude, it's incredible. That's okay. That's the other thing. And I'll, knock on wood. He's never going to kill you. Right? If he doesn't win, he finishes second.
Does he leave you with nothing else? That's the only question. Does he leave you with nothing else? I don't think so. I mean, I got a bunch of 7K guys I like. I don't like the low end of the 6K range. But, I mean, if I had to, I'll take a guess. Could you go Scheffler and 7K guy? I don't think so. I think you got to get into the 6K range. So, and then you're a bunch of 7K guys along with them. I mean, that leaves out my golfer of the week. You're not playing him.
Can't play Scheffler and your golfer of the week.
Can't play Rose. Can't play Henley.
Right.
So, that's the challenge with Scheffler, but it's probably worth it.
Rosie's up there. So those guys you mentioned, Rosie, Henley, these are guys we've spoken about, but the Rose window that we have open right now, obviously with the way he played at Farmers and now going to this place where he's got the win, the 3rd, the 11th, all in the last 3 years. Is this a place where your course history matters more, less, or average?
It seems to be a little more to me.
I think so.
There are a lot of guys who have a very long, very positive course history here. And that's ultimately what I look at with Justin Rose. I think it's the second best course history behind only Jason Day in this whole
Jason
field.
Day's never won.
And Jason Day's never won, which makes it that much more impressive. And I think you agree with me. We look at course history as a strokes gained game.
Yeah.
It might be different with average finishing position, but I'm more concerned about the strokes gained. And he performs well at Spyglass Hill as well. I don't see any holes in his game. Like Mark said, it was a dominating performance last week. If you're not going to play Scotty, Rosie's a surefire lock for your lineup.
And then finally, Russell Henley. And, I'm not one to speak, in hyperboles or I just don't know. One, I think it's a fantastic spot for him. 2, I think he's playing great. 3, if not here, where? What am I missing? He's obviously not going to win, right? Because Scotty might win, but this has got to be a rust spot. It has to be a rust spot.
Yeah. He did finish 5th last year, which was his best finish. And I think that's the golfer that we're looking at now. He wasn't always that golfer. So in Russell Henley's case, you saw this player who, turned into such a consistent, steady force in the game and a legitimate, we joked about it for years, a legitimate top 10 player in the world now.
Right. That used to be a joke.
Right. We used to introduce top 10 golfer of the world, Russell Henley, when he wasn't. Now he is. And all of a sudden he's putting up good numbers at Pebble Beach. You're right. It is a Russell Henley spot. It doesn't seem like the offseason did any harm to him. He's right back where he left off, hitting it in fairways, hitting it at flags. One thing to watch out for this week, Rick, if it really rains tomorrow and those greens get super soft, controlling the spin is such a problem for these guys. And I think Russell Henley launches it a little lower, and I don't think you're going to see his ball zip back quite as much as some of the other guys. He's got a good ball flight into a lot of these greens that kind of catch the ball. So I love Henley here.
All right, from your lips to the golf god's ears. The 8K range includes Maverick McNeely, and you mentioned it earlier, the 3 straight complete gains, which I love. On a scale from 1, which is, Rick, you're an idiot, to 10, panic, 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 where are you on the Sunday round of McNeely out of, was he in the final group or the second to last group? Might have been in the final group. Whatever it was, he was in the mix. For him to basically never be in that golf tournament, lose 2.5 strokes to the field, did not look particularly good. Where does that? Where on the scale is that round?
He did the same thing at Torrey. At Torrey, in the 4th round, he could not hit a fairway. Torrey looked different because he charged. Right. So his numbers may look different. He made like 4 birdies in a row early.
Yes, that's right.
And then he never hit another fairway.
Yeah, he was like 500 through 6 or something.
Yes. And then he just started spraying it.
Yeah.
And then they showed him tapping in on 18. So I guess it was different in a way. But I think this is going to all come around for him. So, no, I'm not panicked. I'm not sure. Panic, panic, panic. Rick, you're an idiot. I don't know really how those are opposites. But I'm not panicked. I think you're gonna see a great performance from him. I will say this. That's probably the thing that made him not the golfer of the week. And probably the thing that made him not the one and done play.
Okay. I had him in one and done, not in the entry that I track for this because I had Siwoo, but I had a lot of McNeely last week in one and done, and it was kind of a painful watch. Just looked,
yeah.
I mean, he's like flying green. It just, yeah.
He's in good form though. He's in good form.
He's in fantastic form. I like your Jason Day call here for a couple of reasons. Jason Day at Torrey was smash spot, one of the most popular golfers on the slate, was the highest owned one and done player. He didn't do anything wrong. He picked up 4 strokes on approach, more than 1 per round, and finished T38. And now everyone's like, I don't care about Jason Day. And he's going back to like the greatest spot in the whole world for him.
Yeah, he lost it. This is the spot that's even better for him. And if I wasn't going to go Hovland for one and done, I was going to go Day because of this record. It's a lock. I mean, look at this. T13, T6, T24, T7, T4, T4, T2, T5, T11, T4, T64. Something happened in 2014.
Oh, it stinks. That was 12 years ago.
Yeah. And T14, T6. I'm sorry, T6, T46, T14, T6. That's his entire record. A lot of single-digit numbers there. And no wins.
Everything but a win.
You have to. You have to consider him. You have to like Jason Day here. So I do too.
I have convinced myself that Daniel Berger is back 3 to 5 times in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I'm also convinced again he's back, right? Like as of right now. So I'm with you here, Greg. It's been a solid start to 2026. The metrics are strong. The history is strong, but I have stepped in this trap now probably 5 times. Why will this be different?
I think he just loves the venue. That's
does.
probably why. I mean, the metrics look great, which is what brings you into that's the bait. You know, he picked up 7 shots on approach last week. That's stellar. And now you're going to one of your favorite golf courses on tour, place you played great at. It just seems like a perfect fit. So I love the way he's been striking it. The thing about the trap is the short game and putting haven't been what you'd expect them to be. Like peak Daniel Berger. It hasn't quite been there. That's probably the thing holding him back. But you go to a course you love, it can turn around on the greens.
Yeah. I'm with you here. I'm ready to get hurt again. Apologies for the quick switch to Ryan Gerard. I accidentally closed the Daniel Berger tab on my computer. But we'll go down to the 7K range here. You've got Shane Lowry, we've spoken a lot about. I think we're all on the same page there. Here's Ryan Gerard. He took off last week. Does that stop the momentum of what has been a fantastic run of golf?
No, I mean, it goes back to December of last year, right? When he finished second in, where was that, in Africa?
Yes. Mauritius. I don't know how they say it, but yeah, it's like an island in Africa.
So he goes to Africa, finishes second, comes back here to Hawaii, finishes second, gets onto the mainland, finishes second. And then all the momentum came to a halt with his T11 at Torrey Pines. He just may be a little popular. You know, looking at, I love what I'm seeing out of his game. That ownership might be a little high. It's slightly lower on Shane Lowry, slightly, although not much. But look, he's going to perform great. The putter's been great last 3 weeks. Iron play can get extremely hot. I kind of trust him in the wind. I just think he's that strong of a ball striker. Yeah, I mean, why would he stop now?
Ryan Gerard, 7,500. If you want $100 cheaper and a past champion, Greg, who is available?
Yeah, Nick Taylor, and a big break on ownership as well compared to Gerard. Maybe a good fade Gerard chalk and go to Taylor kind of opportunity. Nick Taylor's picked up over 2 strokes approaching the green 2 of the 3 events this year, which I really like. The putter, he's picked up strokes to the field in all 3 events, which I really like. He's got the 5th best course history here since 2020. He did win in 2020. Again, I don't think driving distance is going to be a problem or an issue. And he's finished in the top 30 all 3 events this year. I think he's playing great golf.
I'm with you, and we've seen it before. He's capable, almost to a fault, of like really high end finishes. Sometimes you get the other end of the spectrum, but that's a very good sign, and he's had enough success around here. I was so happy to see Sahith Theegala show up on your list, because this is one of the guys that before 2026 I was like, all right, like we're gonna get the year, we're gonna get like the comeback year. I've got a lot of him in like best ball scenarios and things that are like longer term fantasy leagues. And here he is now on your short list for golfers in the 7K.
Yes. And look, 3 straight top 18 finishes. He's at 7,300 and only 7.5% owned. You know, it feels like he's being way undervalued by the general public. It's probably because his course history isn't great. He's got his best finish here is at tied 20th. I think he bests it this week. Look at what he's done this season, Rick. It's been iron play, short game, and putting. Those are the 3 things I'm focused on most here. Iron play, short game, and putting. I think he's got the stuff to put together a really nice week. In the spirit of picking exact finishes, let's say I'll say T14 this week.
All right, good week.
Two way.
That's a great week for Sahith. Now, if you've got to get down into the 6K range, let's assume you've clicked some Scotty Scheffler names. Greg has got a couple of options there as well. And he's starting with Jacob Bridgman at $6,900, Greg. And I have to admit, I knew he was playing well, but even this is a better set of results in 2026 than I would have guessed.
In the first 3 events, of 26, he's gained strokes off the tee and approached the green 3 weeks in a row. He's never done that in his career. His calling card is really the putting. He was 21st last year in strokes gained putting. He was 30th in scrambling. Those are things I value pretty highly here. I think that, like I said, the challenge is putting these greens. Poa is his best surface. He's a great putter who's hitting the ball as well as he ever has in his entire life. And clearly getting comfortable out on tour with a tied 4th at the Sony, a tied 13th at the Amex, tied 18th at the WM Phoenix Open. In this signature event, it's going to be a tied 23rd. That's going to be a 3-way tie for 23rd.
I can't wait to clip all of these when you get them all right.
The only way they get clipped is if they're right. I should say when they're right.
When they're right. And without further ado, the last man on the list, a resurgent $6,600 Michael Kim. I believe he'd been dealing with, did he have a little back injury recently?
Yeah, he did. That's why he had to withdraw from his hometown event at Torrey Pines before even going. He didn't start.
Right, didn't start. Which I think is I think that's an important distinction.
Yes. Because you're not going to see it on any. He didn't get a WD on the record. Look, I feel like his tied 18th finish last week proves that the health is in good order. And if you want to go read up on how he's feeling, you can just follow him on X. He'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, he will.
So I think he's feeling much better. He played pretty well here last year, tied 11th finish. If I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
So T11 last year here, T18 last week. I think he's really turned into a more consistent player on the PGA, a very consistent player on the PGA Tour in general.
I disagree. He was much more consistent when he was missing the cut every single week.
That
was very consistent.
Yeah, that's fair. Consistently last. So he's been much more unpredictable, but a good, solid player. I couldn't find anything I liked down below this, Rick.
I said Brian Campbell, but even I understand that is a risk, obviously.
Yeah, it's such a long shot. Yeah. I just couldn't find anything I liked. You got like Valimaki there at 64. You could take a chance on. Like you said, Brian Campbell, Min Price. You could take a chance on. I probably wouldn't. But, he's there. It's a tough range. And I believe in Michael Kim. I think he's a good, solid, safe play.
I just saw. Hold on. Breaking news. How do I do this, Mina? Final round, Phoenix Open. Most watched final round in 7 years, peaking at 4.9 million viewers. That feels like a ton.
That is a ton.
4.9 is a ton.
So that's the peak. I don't know. I don't remember as much of the peak, but the average of 3.7.
Yeah.
That would have been last year, I believe, the second most watched event, non-major.
Wow.
I want to say, unless I'm off by a whole million,
and what's a million amongst friends, really?
If it's the NFL, it's a decimal. In golf, it's a big deal.
Yeah, seriously.
I want to say last year, the RBC Heritage was like 3.5 or 3.6 million, which was the most watched, along with the FedEx St. Jude, which was the same number. And I believe it was 3.5 million. So that's a huge number.
Chris Gotterup, needle mover.
Huge.
Okay, Gregors.
That's not how ratings work, by the way.
We're 90 minutes in. We've covered a lot. Anything else that you would like to get to before I close up shop?
No. I'll just say this on the ratings. you watch without knowing who's going to win. And in the case of Chris Gotterup, you saw like no shots of his.
Right.
So you were those people were probably tuning in to see a Scotty Scheffler comeback, see a charge. But it's great to see because it was an awesome event.
Fantastic event, fantastic finish, and you're right. It should not be tied to the winner because the winner was on TV for about 0.1% of that final round. But that's a different story. All right, we are going to do this again on Friday night, and we're going to do it again on Sunday night. And it's going to be a lot of fun because Pebble is fun and it looks good, and we might get a little bit of weather along the way. Big thanks, producer Mina. She does all the hard work behind the scenes. That's Greg DuCharme. You can find him at The Real GFD, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.